What's up, Men's Physique fans, and welcome back to another video. It has been a jam-packed weekend in the Men's Physique division, so much so I really don't even know where to start. We have a whole new Olympia qualification system, which in all likelihood will be the end of many athletes' career. We have Alex Rogers, who finally gets his redemption. Bilal still sending shots at our current champion in Ryan Terry, and Brandon Hendrickson still doesn't like me. Yeah, it's safe to say we have a lot to catch up on, but before we get there, I wanted to remind you guys that I'm now taking on one-on-one coaching clients. So if you're looking for a coach who prioritizes communication and somebody who's going to get their check-ins back to you in a timely manner, and not only that, somebody who's going to simply prioritize you to maximize your fullest potential, all you guys have to do is click the link in my bio. I can tell you guys this, it won't be easy. I will ask a lot of you, but if you follow the plan, if you stick to the process, you will be the best version of you next time you step on stage. I can promise you that. But now that we got that out of the way, I want you guys to sit back, relax, and enjoy this video.
No, they wanna take it off from me, so I give what it takes. Whole life been a miracle, seen everything but a cape. Why would I stop now? Found everything on a journey, but another way. Look.
With only 2 weeks left to qualify for the 2025 Mr. Olympia, it's safe to say this is a make or break time for a lot of the athletes who still have yet to qualify. And that was no different this past weekend here at the Florida Pro. So I want to quickly break down your top 4 finishers, starting off with your 4th place finisher in Brandon Cato. Now, in full transparency, I didn't know much about Brandon prior to going into this show, but I was there live in person. And when I saw him walk out, there was a clear difference between him and most of the other guys. He had fullness, he had the conditioning, and the only thing that he can work on a little bit better is simply controlling his posing variable. But for an IFBB Pro rookie, right, making his debut, for him to stand next to 2 Olympians and a guy who's been second place multiple times speaks volumes of this guy's potential and his future. But coming in at 4th place is none other than Brandon Cato. And coming in at 3rd place is none other than Hema Achimi. And guys, we need to take a second. I need you to look at me when I say this, because this was the true definition of inside out peeled. Now, I am a fan of this guy's physique because not only is he grainy, not only does he carry a lot of density, but my one question when I saw him was this men's physique? Because everything that I just named, the conditioning, and when I say conditioning, I mean the grainy side of it, and the size just almost didn't scream men's physique, right? We're looking at everybody else on that stage. He was stuck out like a sore thumb for the wrong reasons. And even though it's like a wow factor when you see him, like you can't take your eyes off of him, it doesn't change the fact that men's physique is a look, and that had me questioning on whether or not he should have been in that conversation. Now, if you were just going off of the conditioning, the you can't even really say structure, but the size and just the physique in itself, yes, I totally get it, because this is a freaky look, and he was more conditioned than the winner, and he had great balance, and he was just had a crazy physique. But at the same time, was it men's physique? Arguable, but nonetheless had a wicked physique and definitely deserved to be in that conversation. And coming in at 2nd place is none other than a previous 2024 Olympian in Ricardo Sinet. Now, Ricardo has a very high ceiling, but also has a low floor, which means if he is not close to the 100% version of himself, he's going to leave the door open for guys to come in and have an upset. And that's exactly what we've seen here at the Florida Pro. Ricardo also tried something a lot different compared to his previous showings, a new pose. So he, instead of hitting the traditional one hand on hip or no hands on hip, he instead hit the Superman pose, which truthfully, I get why he did it, because it's a simpler pose and it's harder to look uncomfortable in a simple pose compared to one that is a little bit harder to master. But once you get it, it can kind of create a flow. He just still hasn't gotten it yet. So because of that, he tried something a little bit more simple, but it just didn't hit the same. Ricardo will always be conditioned. Ricardo will always have one of the best backs on a given stage. But today, that wasn't enough, because the winner of the 2025 Florida Pro is none other than Alex Rogers. If you rewind just 1 year ago, it was here at the 2024 Florida Pro, which we had the same top 2, but a different outcome, which qualified Ricardo Sinet to his very first Olympia and took Alex's qualification away, missing his very first Olympia. And now you fast forward 1 more year, the tides have completely turned, because now you have Alex Rogers playing spoiler, taking away what may just be the last opportunity for Ricardo Sinet to get his 2025 Olympia qualification. This was a great package from Alex Rogers. He was full and he had the condition. Now, was this the best version of Alex? Absolutely not. But at the same time, I spoke to him after the show, and he said he had to speed up his timeline by about a week. He was confident in the package that he was bringing, but he also knew that this wasn't going to be the best version of him, especially with the Olympia being so close. Now, even though that this wasn't the best version of Alex, that speaks volumes that he can now beat a guy who not only beat him in the past, but also is a guy who just placed 4th place at the New York Pro, and a guy who placed in the 3rd callouts just last year at the Olympia, giving Alex a lot of momentum going into the 2025 Olympia. And for those of you who are just now learning about Alex Rogers' name, you guys have to understand this is not an overnight success story, right? This is a guy who's scratched and clawed to make a name for himself in the men's physique division and just started to break through just last season, and now is finding himself in those conversations with some of the guys who are looking to be those breakthrough athletes at the Olympia. Again, a guy who controls his variables and a guy who's just an all-around great person. And when you have a guy that you just like as a person, you just want to see him succeed on stage. And that's what we got this past weekend. But nonetheless, we have Alex Rogers walking away with another Olympia qualification and gaining a lot of momentum going into the 2025 Mr. Olympia. Over the last few years, the Olympia has lost its prestige simply due to how many athletes have walked across that stage. Until now. Earlier this week, the IFB announced the new 2026 Olympia qualification system that will change bodybuilding forever. Winning one show will no longer qualify you for the Olympia unless those shows are the Pittsburgh Pro, New York Pro, Romania Pro, or Dubai. If you place or win a show outside of the ones that I just listed, that's where the new point system will then be in effect. The top 25 in points by the end of the qualification window will qualify for the Olympia, and if you manage to win 2 pro shows, then you would automatically qualify for the Olympia as well. If you're a fan or just simply a spectator of the sport, you're absolutely gonna love this, because now this forces some of the top athletes and some of your favorite athletes to compete more consistently throughout the year in order to get an Olympia qualification, whether that's winning 2 shows, winning one of the big shows, or having to run the gauntlet in order to get enough points. But if you're an athlete, things just got a lot harder. The reason this was implemented, it was to bring down the number of athletes competing at the Olympia. So with that in mind, not only is it going to be harder to get to the Olympia, but now you're going to be going against some of the top guys more consistently throughout the year, forcing you to come up with a strategy, not only for actual shows, but for your health as well, because now your competition windows has opened up dramatically, and you won't ever really know until the qualification window closes whether or not you made it to the Olympia or not, because you're going to have some of these guys competing consistently from all around the world. So you're going to be paying very close attention to those point standings as you're going throughout the year, which is also going to now dictate whether or not you're competing again, or really just your whole schedule in itself. And not to mention, if you're an international competitor, things have also gotten a lot harder, because now you're likely going to have to travel from your country to the United States, which could also lead to potential visa issues, and could also just simply be a financial burden if you aren't somebody who's, financially well off, because we all know you don't make a ton of money from bodybuilding. So a lot of the athletes who are competing are kind of scraping by and doing enough just to be able to compete. So like Andre Ferguson did say in the last episode of Men's Physique Radio, this is them trimming the fat. Now, even though I think this is a net positive for bodybuilding as a whole, and specifically the men's physique division, there's no question that this is going to force athletes to really analyze their current season, analyze where they currently are, and analyze their financial situation, and be strategic and try to build a path for them to be creative, but also get to the Olympia. And I'm telling you guys right now, you're going to see guys who are currently in that 3 to 5, 6 spot range really get hurt by this, because you're going to see those guys being in the conversation to now falling out of the conversation because of how many athletes are going to be continuously running the gauntlet in order to garner enough points or to win the show. But I definitely think this is going to make for an exciting 2026 season. And I'm telling you guys right now, you're going to see some new rising stars, and you're also going to see some guys who are playing spoiler, because it's going to be a lot easier to do so now. And since this announcement, I've seen a lot of back and forth on why this is a great or bad thing for the division. And I'm curious to know what you guys think. Make sure you comment below. Over the weekend, a public feud between long-term athlete Drew Cullen and Trulaware raised a lot of eyebrows after Drew Cullen posted on his Instagram story that he was no longer with Trulaware due to the owner of the brand lying and hiding profits, which then caused a floodgate of people opening up about their bad experiences with the brand.
Businesses like that should not exist. It's beyond just me, though. It's other people that were involved that obviously never got their orders. I am currently working on a story with Goob. I don't even understand what the point of a contract is when they're not even being paid for the work that they're doing. It's taken up until now because other people have been scammed, but there was no way of them proving it besides saying it. There's still a lot of people that never received their orders, and that's not right.
Okay, so in summary, Drew and Chula were in the midst of negotiation. Chula brought up that Drew wasn't abiding by the post requirements and they wanted him to improve his sales because, in quote, your code was not used even once in the month of August. And then Drew responded with proof of his sales and then called Chula out publicly for lying about his sales and overall numbers, which ultimately means they were kind of stealing money. The response from the public was honestly the most shocking part to me because all of the previous customers of Chula and former athletes began to share their negative experiences with the brand, with many of them saying that they never even got the shorts that they ordered, which in return prompted Chula to respond with a cease and desist letter on the grounds of defamation. Before I say anything else, I want to say as an owner of a board shirt company, I have a lot of respect for everything that Chula has built. I do not know the owner and I do not know about the brand's inner workings or anything along those lines. All I do know is that they create a product that a lot of people seem to like. But if this is true and customers did get screwed out of their hard-earned money and never got orders that they placed, then there's no doubt that something needs to be done. Now, regarding Drew's specific situation, I hate to see it get so messy. You know, when it comes to contract negotiations, these are conversations that need to be had behind closed doors, simply because a lot of times it does get messy. And the last thing you want is a public feud and a back and forth that honestly doesn't really help anybody. But the one thing that I will say in this situation, this does help the people who didn't have a voice when they were emailing or messaging and DMing and trying to get a refund or an update on where their order actually is. As much as I would want this to stay under wraps just because, you know, it's something that should stay under wraps, it also gives a voice to the voiceless. And now let's take a quick trip around the division to update you guys on some of your favorite men's physique athletes, starting off with your 3-time Mr. Olympia champion and Brandon Hendrickson. And not only did we get a physique update, but we also got confirmation from the man himself that he will be stepping on stage 2 weeks prior to the Olympia, making him 3 weeks out. And the only hint that he gave us before making his announcement that the show was going to be international and in 3 weeks. And on the last episode of Men's Physique Radio, we actually pulled up the schedule to try to guess what show Brandon was going to be doing before the Olympia based off of the 2 stipulations that he gave. The fact that it was international and 3 weeks away. And there was only 2 shows that fell into those categories, which was the Dominican Republic Pro. And I said maybe he's doing that show because his girl might be Dominican, right? And he loves his girl. You can clearly see that on the social media. And then the second one was the China show. But once we realized that China was that weekend, we all guessed that this was going to be the show just based off of how much love that Brandon gets from China and how much he just loves simply to compete there. But it's safe to say that Brandon wasn't happy at the fact that we were trying to guess what show that he was doing, because on his Instagram story, he then screenshotted the fact that he was watching Men's Physique Radio and said, "I love that y'all have no idea what my plans are or why people are in my bubble." And you know what? I get it. Maybe Brandon doesn't want people in his business, but I also don't know why he would post that on social media if he doesn't think people are going to try to guess what show he's going to do. But again, you know what? I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait to hear what Brandon has to say.
Guangzhou China Pro. Not only will I be in attendance, I will also be competing. Yes, I will be competing 2 weeks out from the 2025 Mr. Olympia contest. I thought it was a risk that's worth taking, and I'm super excited to see all my Chinese fans, all the Chinese athletes. You guys make sure.
Okay, so we were right. So Brandon is currently 3 weeks out from the China show. Now, when we look at this physique update, the one thing that I've noticed about Brandon's physique compared to the shows and the packages that he brought earlier in this year is that the density is seemingly back. And that has been the calling card of Brandon Hendrickson is mass with class. The guy who has the bubbly muscle but still has the pretty men's physique look. And I'm telling you guys, if this is an 80% version of Brandon and he plans to be 95% at China and then 100% at the Olympia, if he brings the density matching the conditioning that he brought earlier, this man is going to be a problem. I'm telling you, he has the best front shot in men's physique history. And he had the best front shot in the show where he placed 4th. So even though his front shot is dominant, the question is, will it be enough? And I'm telling you guys, if he seemingly added the density that he needed to, even in the short time, because you got to understand, it looked like he lost it before. So getting it back is not going to be as hard. It's muscle memory. So if he can bring that back, we might just be getting ready to see the best version of Brandon Hendrickson that we have ever seen. And speaking of all of these percentages, I don't know if you guys seen the update from Bilal, and I'm not talking about the crazy ab update. I'm talking about the 93% update, throwing shade at our current champion, Ryan Terry. Oh man, this is shaping up to be one of the most exciting Olympias ever. And a lot of it is because of this, the shit talking, the back and forths. Even though Brandon might be quieter, you can clearly see that he is watching, he's still responding, right? He's just doing it in a way that's not as public, but you can clearly see it. This man is holding back, like he wants to fire. He's waiting on that right moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it before the Olympia, but I'm telling you guys, all of this feud, it's not just all in good fun. I don't care what anybody says. These guys really don't like each other. And Brandon probably really doesn't like me. And I don't really give a shit. But all I'm saying is this is going to make for such an exciting Olympia, which ultimately is going to make the men's physique division so much bigger than it already is. I cannot wait. And just like that, Andre Ferguson finds himself back in the winner's circle after winning 2 Masters divisions after this past weekend's Florida Pro. And it's crazy because after having listened to Andre over the last couple of weeks and realizing where his mindset is, I realized it's so different from the traditional bodybuilding mind. And I think I had to take myself out of my own mind, put myself in Andre Ferguson to really actually understand it. Andre is not here for anything else but to have fun and collect the check. That's it. Right after he won, this man was in the airport holding a burrito or holding some kind of egg roll and just posting that I came for the money and I'm out of here. And also on the last episode of Men's Physique Radio, he opened up about it and said, "This is my mindset." Let's take a listen.
I've spoken to you briefly about it, but you know the reason why I do the shows, because I catch a stupid bag, right? I have every trophy in the world besides a gold medal at the Olympia. I don't need no more fucking trophies. Bro, I'm taking the money. It's easy money.
You know what? Just because that's not my goal and my mindset, you got to respect it. This man is unapologetically himself, and he's going to do things his way. And he's going to make some money in the process. And we finally got your first update from your current 5th ranked men's physique athlete in the world in Edin Palro, and this man is looking sharp. Again, the one thing that I love about Edin is how he completely recreated his physique. Edin, after the 2022 Olympia where he first placed 5th, he looked absolutely amazing. He was conditioned, he had great balance. The only thing he needed to do was just kind of add more density almost like everywhere. Yeah, he took that to heart because that following year, he came back at least 20 pounds above his previous stage weight, still peeled. And I know that because I competed with him. And I saw when he stepped on the scale, he was 226 pounds at 5'10". That was the year before they implemented the weight cap. If he was going through the weight cap situation, and if you were to count for Edin's weight class today, that would be 202 pounds. He weighed in at 226. That man had to lose over 20 pounds of muscle in order to now fit within the men's physique division, and he did it. And somehow made it look better. Edin Palro is going to be dangerous, guys. I know a lot of people are talking about the Jeremy Buendias, the Aaron Bankses, the Brandon Hendricksons, the Ali Bilals, Ryan Terrys, but don't forget about Edin Palro, because when have we seen him off? When have we seen him not conditioned? When have we not seen him continuously improving? This man is coming off of a 2nd place finish. Don't forget, at the Pittsburgh Pro, behind your 3rd best men's physique athlete in the world. I'm telling you guys, he's on point. He's dangerous, and he's complete. And if he shows up, the best version of Edin Palro, you guys better get ready, because he's going to break a lot of your current guesses who's going to win this year's Olympia. I can promise you that. And now that you guys are caught up on all things men's physique, I want to take a quick second to thank each and every single one of you guys. And if you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button. I know a lot of you guys watching right now don't even realize you're not subscribed. Make sure you click the subscribe button. And also, if you are in need of board shorts, check out Manifest Competition Wear. We just released 2 new board shorts, and they are fire. Literally. And I'm telling you guys right now, even though you might not have an upcoming show, they will sell out and they will not be restocked. So if you guys want to wear Manifest Competition Wear in a specific design that we have recently either dropped or is currently on our website, make sure you act quickly, because once they are gone, they are gone. And I am gone. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And until the next video, peace.